10 years ago, Leonard Hamilton won the ACC tournament. Good morning from Brooklyn, Leonard Hamilton. How are you, sir?
Good morning, fellas. How are you?
We're good. We're good. So, it was fun watching that clip last night. I don't know if I like 23 in the Gaston College jersey more or the guy wearing the three. Well, come on now, the three-piece suit, striding in there. Come on.
Wow, I've been so fortunate, Wes, to have some unique experiences that has challenged every fiber of me as an individual. And I feel honored, to have had some of the opportunities to be a pioneer in a lot of ways, to open up some doors, just to be a part of contributing to, the challenges that we face in our society. So I feel very blessed, and I appreciate you guys having me on.
By the way, I will point this out for the second time today on the show. This is your 13th appearance. No other coach, anybody else has got 13. You are the leader in the clubhouse, my man, as we speak. So anytime I hear, man, you guys need to get me on more often, I'm going to give you that stat right back to you and go, my man, you're the leader in the clubhouse. So congrats on that front. But, watching that clip, Leonard, of you cutting down the nets and what it meant more than just Florida State winning an ACC title, you were also probably involved in the second most intriguing championship, and that is, we will never forget it. Being in the Greensboro Coliseum, we're doing a warm-up line, and next thing you know, you go in and Commissioner Swafford and the boys say, hey, come on out and get your trophy. And all of a sudden, the world came to a screeching halt as we didn't know what COVID was going to do to us. I was standing on the court. I remember you guys coming out of the tunnel. I will never forget that one. That one will go down 100 years from now about what happened in college sports, much less the ACC tournament. That was beyond bizarre.
Well, I've always consistently tried to let our players know that life will give you challenges. I remember in January 19th, 1994, I was in church service one day, and a minister named Maurice Watson from Omaha, Nebraska, was preaching this sermon. And he said, trouble has your address and it's on its way to your house. If you haven't had any trouble, he said, just keep living. That always has meant an awful lot to me. Life will give you challenges, things that you have to learn how to deal with. And we tried to utilize that moment as a teaching lesson for our players. And that's one reason why, this situation we're dealing with this year with the injuries and things that we've had to deal with, I've tried to utilize that as a teaching point to let guys know that sometimes life will throw you those curveballs, the true test of your character, how do you deal with adversity. And that was one of those moments where we had to learn to grow up and deal with things that will make you think.
All right, Malik Osborne is not going to come back and be your leader. You know that. Caleb Mills did come back. You've gotten some guys back. You've put 3 in a row together to close the regular season. Do you feel like you've got some rhythm for this event that starts tomorrow in your first ever tournament meeting with Syracuse?
Well, one thing, Wes, that I've learned, it doesn't really matter whether I have rhythm or not. We have to go out and give a full account of ourselves. In life, especially when you're working with young people, you're always trying to find ways to help them grow. And sometimes when you're having a lot of success and everything's going well, you're enjoying the moment, but you're not learning how to overcome things. This has been one of those years where you have to be able to control your emotions, control yourself mentally, physically, as well as emotionally. And it's because we never knew who was going to be available. I've never seen a situation where, we were successful at home against what our conference leader do, and then we go play them a second time, and not one player is dressed who started in the game. That's extremely unusual. Very similar to some of the situations I was faced with as a youngster growing up. So this has been a challenge, but I think you're blessed to be in a situation where you get a chance to go out and prove people that you can overcome adversity.
For a guy that grew up in Gastonia, you've been part of this ACC Legends now for a while. What about the tournament in Brooklyn? What's it like for you?
Well, obviously, the Greensboro has done such a tremendous job over the years running the tournament. It's completely different than the atmosphere you exist there. You don't see the tailgating, the grills out in the parking lot. You don't see the smoke. And there's a lot of tradition that has been established with in the ACC tournament. So you kind of miss that. But I also think that as players and as coaches, have an opportunity to come to Brooklyn, to New York City every once in a while, and they call it the Mecca of basketball, and be a part of this rich tradition here. I think gives ACC some additional exposure that maybe we really need and should embrace it and enjoy.
Yeah. Matthew Cleveland was honored yesterday as the sixth man of the year. Great freshman season by all accounts. What are you most pleased with in Matthew's development, Coach?
Matthew has a high IQ for the game of basketball. He's extremely competitive. And the situation he's been put in as a freshman obviously will challenge you, even though I'm sure he always wanted to play and be a part of the atmosphere that exists in the ACC. I'm not sure he expected, though, to have to carry the burden on his shoulders of being a guy who has to perform night in and night out as a freshman. That's going to make the difference in whether or not we're successful or not. So it's challenged him, and I'm so pleased that he's met all the expectations.
By the way, just seen that highlight. That was some kind of play you drew up there in Charlottesville, Coach. You going to take credit for that one?
No, I'm not going to take credit for that. That was Coach Stan Jones, my trusted associate head coach, who's been with me for like 26 years. He's been my guy, and he drew that up with all the different options that we had. And I always tell people, Matthew made a great shot, but I'm not real sure that the weatherman Harris's throw might have been better than the shot.
Hey, look here, I got one concern for you. You better hope Mike Norvell doesn't break down Matthew Cleveland's running of routes, because Norvell be over there trying to get Cleveland to work on third down plays. I'm going to tell you.
Well,
that's a heck of a catch.
He has a heck of a catch and shot. And we do work on half-court shots every day. Every day we work on it. And, I've seen a couple of guys. Sometimes we'll make 5 or 6 of those shots a day, and sometimes we make 3 or 4 in a row. So we do it kind of as a fun thing, just kind of the end of the shooting period. And so Matthew felt right at home because he shot that same shot just about every day since he'd been at Florida State.
All right, quickly on Syracuse. Each of you won on the other's floor. They beat you guys early in the year to snap your long streak. Then you return the favor up at the Carrier Dome. What do you take away from those two to put into a third meeting this year?
Well, those were 2 really hard-fought games. I think they blew us out by 1 in our place, an ACC blowout. And I think we might have won by 4 or 5 in Syracuse. We've had some classic battles over the years. The famed 2-3 zone has always been a challenge for everybody for many, many years. He's won over 900 games, I believe, with that. So you always gotta execute against it. But this year, they have 4 guys on the floor that are capable of going off for 20 points. And that's extremely challenging. You don't have a relief in any position. Obviously the Boeheim brothers and their point guard, and they have 4 guys that they put on the floor that are offensive juggernauts. And so we have our hands full, no doubt about that.
I know this much, Coach. If it's a 1-point game, I like your chances. I've never seen a team, if it goes to overtime or it's a 1-point game, I'm betting on you, my man. Florida State owns 1-point wins in overtime. That's all I know.
Wow, that's a heck of a compliment, for you to say that. You don't give out compliments very easy.
Well, I know this much. You got 6 1-point wins, and you've won 13 straight overtime games. You're doing something right.
Well, I always contribute that to the outstanding staff I have, the relationship we have with our players. the way we communicate with each other. That's obviously contributed. But you understand, I grew up in ACC country, watching some of the most historical, most successful, rich, traditional programs led by men who really, really set the table for all of us to emulate in college basketball. And so I've been trained sitting there watching TV. One of my fond memories, and if you guys need to go pull this up, of seeing Eddie Beatenbach sitting on the floor with like about 40 pair of shoes that he's worn out, but he's worn them out. Now, you would think that a youngster wouldn't remember that, but that said a lot about how hard he worked in the atmosphere in the ACC, where he's sitting on the floor with 40 pair of shoes that he's busted out of, playing hard and representing the school. So I go way back with the ACC, man, and I'm just so proud to be a part of this rich tradition.
Well, good luck. Thanks for the time as always. We'll see you on the floor at Barclays Center tomorrow at noon against Syracuse. Thanks, Coach.
Hey, you guys got to have me on a little more.
You can forget it. What, you want 20? You're unbelievable.